seen these before, I know. 100 stories up in my condo. Never Instagram the shit I wore. You.
We live. Salute, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry I'm late. We had some technical difficulties. We have a special guest today, Larry Hoover Jr. And yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, I got some questions that I want to ask, but I gotta ask the popular questions and things of that nature. So my first question is what is your relationship with Kanye West?
Oh man, Kanye West is a Chicago native. He's a friend of mine. He's actually a brother. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's a Chicago native who's concerned and knows about what's going on. So it's a friend and family, man.
Okay. What's your relationship with Jay Prince?
Same difference. My relationship with Jay Prince goes back over 20 years. We used to do shows with the Ghetto Boys when they was getting going. So we built a relationship from back then, and it's been going ever since then.
Okay. And the last one, I guess the fans' favorite. Can you speak on the Kanye West and Drake concert, and how did it come about, and how did it impact to help your fight for your father's freedom?
I mean, the concert was pretty much just, first of all, bringing them two guys together. You know what I mean? Trying to end something that needed to come to an end. I can't say it was unnecessary or anything like that. It's just bringing something to an end. It's to our biggest artists of our time, going at it back and forth. We wouldn't want to see them or anybody around them experience some things they didn't need to experience because of their beef. So that was just bringing peace to our people, which is, kind of what my father is all about. But then also the concert just brings awareness about my father's situation to a level that the awareness was not there. It puts his name in people's mouths. It brings people in to see what's going on and help take part in this fight, to understand that it's an injustice being done and that, he needs some help, and he needed from our people. It's not just from attorneys or what have you. They say that the community don't want him. We need the community to say that he's an asset to us and we need him back.
Right. So let me get to the questions I want to ask. What is the Free Larry Hoover movement, and what is it about, and what is your ultimate goal?
Well, the Free Larry Hoover movement is actually about the fact that my father qualifies to be released under the First Step Act. He was sentenced under the crack cocaine law, which they changed under the First Step Act because of the way they charged our community over crack compared to cocaine. He was charged under a cocaine thing. So he qualifies to be released under that law. And because of who Larry Hoover is, and the legend of Larry Hoover, he's still fighting for his life, even though he has the opportunity to come home. So this movement is getting people behind to get our legal system to just do what the law says, because he qualifies for it. He's an elderly man, living in an inhumane situation, and he deserves a chance for redemption. So it's all about pushing for him to come back to the world. That's my ultimate goal, to get him out of the federal situation and get him back home so he can, breathe air with his family.
Right. So, before I get into, I want to ask about, the case and things of that matter. But first, I heard that you do activist work for the youth. And can you elaborate more on that?
Okay, well, just coming up with seeing what my father was doing, it was kind of naturally put in me to be concerned about what was going on in our community. So, whenever the opportunities are there and I can try to give back to the community, try to speak to the youth, try to point them in a different direction when they're influenced by things that may change their life in a negative aspect, I just try to try to give them that voice of reason to, you know, that may not be what you want to do. I know I know plenty of examples of what happened when you take those routes. So, you know, that's what that's all about. Just giving them a chance to be a part of society and not just be some of these kids that's making money for these privatized jails and all that. And once you get there, it's money to keep you there. So my thing is to have them fight not to go to jail instead of fighting to get out of jail. Because once you're in there, it's a hard thing to get up out of there. That fight gets a lot harder then. It's hard to fight to not go, but you can do that. You can keep trying regardless how that go. Once you're in there, you're kind of stuck.
Right. When I came across that, I just want to salute you and commend you for that. For real. How long was your father incarcerated?
My father has been incarcerated for nearly half a century. I'm 48. He's been in jail my whole life.
Wow.
My mother was pregnant with me when he went to jail.
And that was going to be my next question. How old were you when he was incarcerated?
Nah, we never walked on this ground out here together.
Wow, man. So how old were you when you decided to start the fight for your father's freedom?
I mean, I've been fighting for my father's. You know what? When I was a kid, I always said I wanted to be a lawyer so I could get my father out of jail. I never made it to being a lawyer, but it's always been about trying to bring my father home. I want to say by the time I came home from colleges, when I started doing little things here and there and having a situation to kind of speak on what's going on with him and for him to come home a little bit. It wasn't a whole lot, but it was around that time.
Okay. So are you the oldest, and how many siblings do you have, if you have any?
Okay, well, I have two brothers, and I'm definitely not the oldest. I'm the youngest.
Okay.
Yeah.
You the youngest? Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any children, and were they ever able to visit their grandfather?
Okay, I have a daughter and I have a son. My daughter is 23, 24. She's 22, and my son is 14. And they have been able to visit their grandfather, but they had never been able to touch their grandfather. It's through a glass and on the phone.
Wow.
And, my father definitely, if he had the chance, he would have pinched their cheeks and bit their jaws, and he's never had the opportunity to do that with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was Mr. Hoover's original charges, and what was he ultimately sentenced? His ultimate sentence.
He had a drug conspiracy, and they gave him 6 life sentences.
Wow.
Compared to, just say, El Chapo in there, who has a life sentence in 30 years.
Wow. So I was watching I think it was a documentary, and it says your father was given additional charges while he was incarcerated. What were they and why?
Okay, well, he wasn't given additional charges. He was incarcerated for a state case before he had a federal case, if that's what you're speaking of.
Okay.
So the drug conspiracy thing was the federal case, and then the actual state case was a murder case where they said that he gave the call for somebody to be murdered.
Wow.
And he had 200 and something years for that one.
Jesus.
So we've been fighting the whole time.
Man. I heard, in the same documentary, I heard like they was bugging the visiting passes for the visitors who came to visit your father. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, really, when it comes to that, that's like water under the bridge, like to touch on to that type of stuff. I hate to do something that was too touchy. I mean, that he's still fighting for his life. So when you go into that type of stuff, it's a funny situation. They were bugging people, which seems like it's crazy. I thought they had to have your consent to actually bug a person, but they didn't have the consent. But none of that mattered with fighting for his life. If it wasn't for the First Step Act, I don't know what we would be fighting with at this point. That's the whole thing that puts me here right now with the opportunity to like really fight for him, because the judge actually said that he qualifies to be released under the First Step Act. It will probably be at a later date and time if we ever to get to the injustices that was done dealing with putting him in the situation that he's in, but it was a lot of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask a question, how many life sentences, but you said 6.
Yep.
6. So can you speak about, or you're trying to have an appeal? Can you speak on that?
Okay, actually, he was denied under the First Step Act without prejudice, which means he has an opportunity to present more information to the judge. And the judge left the door open. He wasn't just completely denied. So he still has an opportunity to file some things to the judge. And that's what our attorneys have to do, try to satisfy the things that the judge questioned in the situation.
Right.
It's left up to the judge's discretion to decide what he needs to do. It's not the law that deals with what he needs to do. It's the judge's discretion. So we want the world to know that my father is an asset to our community and not a detriment to our community. And we want the judge to know that, and we want the world to help say it loud, like they know Larry Hoover for changing lives and helping people stay away from the jailhouse and getting out the streets, and not as who you guys just see him as.
Right.
As far as the powers that be.
So this is, I didn't write this one down, but how old was your father when he was first incarcerated?
He was 23, I believe. No. I'm sorry. he got a rap sheet. He's been a kid. He grew up like a lot of these other kids out here in the community trying to find a way. So He started going to jail at like 12 or 13.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm quite sure he has a rap sheet back there in the state. But yeah, the trials and tribulation of being a young black man in the inner city with, our way of finding money is being crime.
Right, most definitely. And that's why I asked that, because they still condemning him for something he did when he was a kid.
Oh yeah, they grew his legend to beyond belief, and now because of the legend that they grew, he's that person that they scared of. They made him the boogie monster.
Wow. So he's been incarcerated longer than he's been free.
Oh yeah, definitely. If he was to touch down on these streets, for him and the adjustments that he would have to make and see, it's a lot. It would be amazing. But they also say that, you age out of criminality, and only 2% of men over the age of 50 commit crimes after they're released from prison.
That was my point. When I was young till now, I'm not the same person anymore.
Yeah, most definitely, and I don't think any of us are. We all change. Like, that's the one variable in life that's guaranteed change. Nothing's gonna stay the same. We're not gonna stay the same, and he definitely has changed.
Right. So, which brings me to my question. Like, what can the people do to help you in the fight for your father's freedom?
At this point right now, to help us fight for my father is to keep screaming loud that, we need him back to the community. When we get to the point with our attorneys on what would be the best thing, where we can really have the people all hands on deck to, sign something, send letters, make calls or whatever, I'll pass that information along. We have the LarryHoover.com, where we sell the Free My Father shirts, where we can help support what's going on. The Free My Father it's not just a movement for my father, it's for other fathers that are incarcerated. You know, that's why it's empty right here. You can put the name in of the individual that you're trying to support, or you can, you know, support my father. I would appreciate that too. We have the Larry Hoover Project, where you can go find out information about what's going on with him and different things we're trying to do with prison reform, and, you know, just stay on board for when the time comes, because we definitely need everybody to assist in this, everybody to scream loud for us and with us.
Yeah, you just answered my next question. I was going to ask, you know, where can people, you know, find you, or, you know, so they can stay updated and support. So you said LarryHoover.com.
LarryHooverJr.com. That's where the shirts and what have you are, and what have you. That's where they are. And then you had a Larry Hoover Project, but then I'm Larry Hoover Jr. _ on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where they can find you on the platforms
right now. Yes, sir.
All right. Is there anything you would like to say, or any information, you know, you would like to cover that I may not have, you know, I may have left out?
I think I just want people to know that, you know, my father is, I always want to leave it on, I want people to know that my father is a senior citizen living in an inhumane situation who qualifies by the law for a second chance at life. And it's in the judge's hands whether he feels as though it's the right thing to do, even though he qualifies by law to be released. So we're not fighting just because it's my father and I want him home, which I do, but we're fighting because he qualifies for a second chance at life. And we just want our government to be fair and give him that second chance. It's in paper. It's in black and white. He qualifies. Let's do what's right. Give him a chance. Everybody deserves redemption.
Real talk. And you know, I wanted to ask your opinion on something. You know, I was thinking, you know, in the beginning, before it became, you know, a national or a global problem, you had the California, you know, well, LA gangs, just like you have, you know, the Chicago. Do you think that broadcasting it like as a national problem helps contribute to like other people becoming, you know, joining these gangs in different states and cities?
Well, you know, the more you spread information, the more it's like the things on the news. When you see certain stuff on the news, if they didn't say it, people wouldn't know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking, because I'm like, if it's a local, it would be local news. Like, why would they, you know, make it a national problem?
Yeah. Attract people to it. People move from one city to the next. Like, you know, I'm trying to think of the joke where it was, you know, we like baby kids, we don't die, we multiply. So, you know what I mean? It's along with that, and along with the news and the media and all these different ways of spreading information that has come about over time, you know, it's nothing that's going to really stay bottled up in one particular area anymore. You know, that's why our kids are informed with so much information. It's hard to even raise your kids and keep them focused, because so much is right there in the palm of their hand, you know, and the news and all these networks, you know, they help spread all this thing around. Like I said, they grew the legend of Larry Hoover so much.
Right. Because I was thinking, because, you know, this social media is like, when they speak about, you know, the gangs and, you know, the disrespecting the dead and things of that nature, a lot of people complain about it, but in the beginning, they were helping to spread this. Like, I would have never known about that if it wasn't for social media and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's good and bad. I just wish we could use it more for the good side of things. Like, it could be used for powerful movements. You know what I mean? Right. Powerful movements to move us in the right direction. But it also could be used to spread negativity, and you know what I mean, give us bad examples and give our kids bad examples of what it looks like to live life, you know. And that's where the problem comes in. That is nobody checking the information that's put out on social media. You know, they can just say what they want to say, right or wrong. And now, you know, the world takes it on and it grows and grows and grows. So, you know, social media it is a good thing, but a lot of people use it the wrong way. I can't say that it's a negative thing. A lot of people say it's negative. I don't think it's negative. I think it's just used in the wrong way, but it's beautiful to be able to spread your information to the world, sell your products to the world, reach out to people that you might not have been able to reach out to. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, but, you know, we're using it wrong. We're using it to poison the minds of the youth in our community.
Right. I feel the same way because, you know, before we had more of an excuse because, you know, the mainstream media and things, we didn't have control over it. But here is our own people who now have their own media outlets and things of that nature, you know. So, yeah.
If it wasn't for technology, we wouldn't be here now.
Right.
You know, while I'm telling my story, telling my father's story, you know.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to get your outlook on that because, you know, when I meet actual, you know, well, gang members or whatever you want to call it, who comes from the actual places, is a lot of history and lessons. Like, you know, I met a couple of GDs and you know, things of that nature, and they have lessons. They won't let me see it, but is actual knowledge and things of that nature that people don't know.
But you know what? It's definitely it was definitely some structures to things, but you know, it's a thing called growth and development. That was the change from gangster disciple to growth and development. And growth and development is something that the world can take in because it's not about gangster disciple. It's about young men in our community becoming a part of society so that they won't go to jails. And this is what my father was putting out. That's what his legacy was supposed to be. You know, my father, once he figured out that he could read, he became well read and educated, and he was trying to do what he's seen other people do to make changes in their community. You know, he's seen the dailies come from the streets and come from gangs and go to City Hall and run this city for years and years. And, you know, he's seen he had the people to do the things that could be done, that might have been able to be done in politics to put his people in a better situation. And, you know, he was interested in that. That's what he wanted to do. That might have been the threat that ruined him.
Right. Because, like, you know, they always give, you know, gangs and things a bad rap. But me personally, when I study, I see in the beginning, you know, gangs were formed to protect, you know, us and our communities from other gangs from, you know, different so-called bases coming in. And, you know, so I done seen gangs in like community boards and things of that nature. And I didn't know that as a kid. So, you know, it makes me, you know, they try to say, get rid of the gangs and condemn them. But I say, if we can bring it back to the original, you know, concept, then, you know, maybe we can have these young kids, you know, doing something in the communities and things of that nature and protecting their communities instead of destroying them.
Yeah, I just really feel like we need to get together as men, you know what I mean, as black men in our community and come together regardless on who you identify with, you know, just to make the change, make it safe to be in our communities. You know, I went outside and ran up and down the block and rode bikes and went to the park. Now it's crazy that it's you're nervous if your kid goes outside, you know? Or you gotta go with them. You can't tell them go over there and be home, you know, when the street lights come on. Like us as men in our community, you know, even as the youth that don't understand that, like, we don't have to live like this. You know, this doesn't have to be our reality. Anger doesn't mean that we have to kill each other. You know what I mean? You can get over anger. You don't have to trade your life for another person's life, because more than likely, whoever loses in that exact moment of the battle, the person who did is going to lose his life too. Now, you know, your life, their life is affected, your family, their family. Like, we need to get our kids, even men, grown men is telling this to these kids, like, we don't have to live like this. No, don't send your youngins to do that. You go ruin their life. What you sending them to do that for? You know, we just we want to make the changes to get back to where we can peacefully enjoy each other and enjoy our communities and come together and push for the things we need, not just because we outraged, but just because it's the thing that we should do. We shouldn't have to wait for Ahmaud Arbery or oh my goodness, I don't know why I can't call his name. This man's name in Canada, George Floyd. You know, you shouldn't have to wait for them type of situations to come together and move on the changes we need in our community. We should be able to come together just as a part of the community and do that. You know, I don't care what side of the town you lived on, what color you wear, which way you wear your hat. We're supposed to be able to come together as the people of our community and try to make the changes happen. And we keep losing.
Real talk. Because I can remember myself growing up, and I can remember when it changed. I can remember, you know, like in the first grade, all the kids from my block, we went to the same school. And in the first grade, we used to all go to school together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I remember the change when the drugs came in, and a lot of parents were getting hooked on drugs, and it kind of destroyed the whole neighborhood, you know.
Hey, that same thing that we thought was just a way to make money, you know, and didn't think nothing of it, like really broke down our communities, man. It ruined our families. It did a lot. It was just it was our income at the time, but you know, it really destroyed our communities, man. It took a lot of fathers out the home. It took a lot of mothers away. You know, it was horrible.
For real. Real. I'm getting some questions here. Someone said something about the tapped in cards.
The tapped in cards?
Tapped in.
Tapped in. I'm not familiar with those.
Okay. Okay. I'll talk about tapped in. Oh, inmate cards. Tapped in ID. Oh, we talked about that. Ron Khan, salute. What school did you attend?
I went to Morris Brown College.
Morris Brown College. Okay, so you a college graduate and things of that nature.
Yeah, yep.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I can't read these questions. I'm sorry. They keep sitting, you know, somebody's texting me questions.
All right.
Well, you know, I wanted to say personally, you know, before we end, you know, I know, you know, your father, to some people, your father is a legend and, you know, an inspiration to many. But, you know, I just want to, you know, say to you, you know, you're an inspiration to me. You know, I'm trying to get into, you know, the activism for the youth and things of that nature myself. So when I see, you know, people like you, you know, it inspires me, you know, that, you know, I can also have a chance at doing that, you know. And, you know, all praises to the Most High. You know, I found my faith. I just want to say, you know, I'm praying for the day, you know, that your father set free and reunited with you and the rest of his family.
Man, I thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. You know, and I'm not gonna lie to you, you know, where I come from, growing up, you know, this positivity stuff was kind of looked at as some sucker type stuff, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I always salute people who have, you know, the bravery to, you know, do these things, you know, because it makes it easier for me. And, you know, a lot of times we come up talk about we demons and things of that nature, but we afraid to you know, acknowledge the Most High. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And we have to. And then the crazy part is I got it from him. You know what I mean? What's the point of that?
I see it.
I got it from him. He was the one that was teaching me to deal with people and, you know, saying that the people in the different organizations was his friends and they were saving each other's life. And, you know, he get the love that he got from being fair and dealing with everybody accordingly. You know what I mean? So, you know, it was in me because I come from him, but then the lessons that I got, and, you know, it's just what we need. We need all hands on deck. What is the you know, being demons and all that go do, but help us keep losing people and keeping us down. So
right.
Yeah, we just got to get that understanding. You know, we gonna keep working at it. There's a lot of people that don't have it, but we gonna keep working at it. We can keep the youth from even getting to that point. You know.
Right. And when I tell a youth, you know, my mama and my grandmama, they rebuke demons. You know.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be a part of society. You don't want to be the outcast. You gonna keep getting treated the same way as the outcast.
So you know, how does your father feel about, you know, what you're doing, and you know how long, you know, how far you came, you know, seeing you grow up and do all of these things, like how you know.
I mean, he's definitely proud to see me out here. My father is he would like to be able to be in contact with me more, to tell me, do it like this, do it like that,
Right.
and you know, be careful. But you know, I mean, he's proud and happy to see me moving and growing, and also the fact that, you know, I'm trying to advocate for him the best I can.
Well, you're doing a great job. Have you ever yourself, you know, touched your father, or it was always through the glass?
Well, you know what? It's funny. I used to touch my father. He would want to hug and kiss me, even as I was coming into early manhood, and I would push him away. You know what I mean?
I know how that is.
You know, I try to hug him. He try to get a kiss in on me and all that type of stuff. And now I wish I could get them hugs and them kisses, you know, because it's been a long time now.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely understand that. So I guess, you know, that's all my questions. I you know, I didn't think it would have went this fast, but I you know, like I said, it's an honor, and I really appreciate, you know, this interview.
All right, man. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you bringing me on.
All right. Thank you. Salute.
All right. Yep.
God
Love.
bless.